After months of rumours, gossip and merry-go-round coverage, Adrian Newey has finally announced he'll be joining Aston Martin from 2025. The deal, which sees him become managing technical partner as well as a shareholder at Aston Martin, could have massive implications for the future of the team and the existing F1 hierarchy. Adrian is rarely in the media spotlight, preferring to keep himself to himself and letting others on his team do the talking to the media. However, during the press engagements that came with his appointment at Aston Martin, he took the opportunity to hit back at Sky Sports for their biased coverage, something fans have become increasingly aggravated by. Today, I'll cover that and why Adrian turned down the chance to work with Lewis Hamilton. So don't go anywhere. Adrian Newey, who will leave Red Bull next year to join Aston Martin in March 2025, has won 13 drivers' titles and 12 constructors' championships in a distinguished career as an F1 car designer. The 65-year-old's move to Aston, which was confirmed on Tuesday, will see Newey team up with Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, with an eye on a new engine, power unit and chassis regulations in 2026. By turning down Ferrari and a partnership with Lewis Hamilton in the process, Newey has committed to Lawrence Stroll's ambitious Aston Martin project, including the recently completed £200 million factory at Silverstone. Newey will become a shareholder in the team, in addition to an estimated £20 million a year contract. Newey tasted success at Williams and McLaren in the 1990s before moving to Red Bull in 2006. He was attracted to Red Bull because he saw a serious project, was promised the freedom he needed to succeed, and was backed by a very committed owner, a very similar situation to the one he finds himself in at Aston Martin now. The British designer was instrumental in Sebastian Vettel's 4 straight titles from 2010 to 2013, as well as Max Verstappen's current run of success with 3 championships in a row. Having been at Red Bull through their greatest triumphs, he's witnessed firsthand the effect that the media have had on the team. Red Bull were regularly insulted and belittled when they first joined F1. They were seen as a joke and a marketing stunt with no intention of becoming a competitive team. Yet during their relatively short life as a team, they found far more success than the established giants of F1, such as Ferrari, McLaren and Williams. What has been hardest on the team, though, is the coverage they've received while winning. Despite being an English team based in Milton Keynes, with an English team principal who has built them and guided them to success, the English media, specifically Sky Sports, have rarely offered a fair view of the team. Speaking on the High Performance podcast after joining Aston Martin, Newey took the opportunity to highlight how unfair and nationalistic their coverage can be. He called out the demonizing of Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel in particular. From the outside, I'm not sure if people fully appreciate and understand Max, just like they didn't with Sebastian, Newey said. Because first of all, there's a sort of demonization that both of them have suffered at times, which I think is very unfair. Maybe that's also a little bit of the British media. If I'm honest, Sky have a huge influence around the world. Their viewing is truly international, but their coverage is quite nationalistic, dare I say, and that can have an influence. While Sky Sports do offer coverage in a number of languages, their English coverage is widely seen as the sport's international coverage, with viewers tuning in from around the world. The team of Martin Brundle, Ted Kravitz and David Croft, as well as a revolving cast of other presenters, have a huge influence over the sport's global fanbase. If you watched our recent video on McLaren's team orders, then you'll know how the biased coverage by Sky of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri can cause problems in Formula 1. It has been so bad over the past few years that Red Bull had to boycott Sky's coverage due to Ted Kravitz's inappropriate comments regarding the 2021 season finale. The boycott was in response to a segment in which Sky presenter Ted Kravitz referred to Lewis Hamilton being robbed of the 2021 World Championship, which Verstappen won. Newey believes the 3-time champion Verstappen is underestimated by many followers of F1. He compared him to Fernando Alonso, who Newey will work with at Aston Martin. It almost feels as if Verstappen can drive the car automatically, said Newey. He doesn't, of course, but he can drive the car and have so much processing power left over that he can then think a lot about how he's driving the car, how he's looking after the tyres, what he might do in the settings, or if he's not sure, ask his race engineer on the radio what he should be doing, but highlighting the problems. Reading the race still fascinates me. Fernando is another one that can do that. He seems to be able to read the race, but they haven't got all the stuff in front of them. You may remember Fernando Alonso coaching Lance Stroll mid-race from the cockpit of his Aston Martin. During the Miami Grand Prix in 2022, Fernando complimented Lance on an overtake he did, which he'd watched on the trackside screens mid-race. Adrian clearly thinks that Alonso has the same capacity as Verstappen to succeed. If he can help Aston Martin provide Alonso with a car which can compete for a world championship in 2026, then it will make for a fascinating season. Of course, he could have chosen to work with Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari if he wanted to, but the team failed to convince him. Before I talk about that though, I quickly want to tell you about something our team has been working on. This is a project we've been working on for a few months now and we're really excited about it. We're launching F1reverse.com, our merch store, and hopefully more in the future. We spent a lot of time coming up with designs that we thought looked cool, clean, and showed off our passion for Formula 1. Personally, I love the Driven by Passion design. I think it looks so sick, it's so perfectly Formula 1, and you'll be seeing me in some of that merch soon. The quality of the gear is so good as well. We're shipping worldwide, so wherever you are, if you want to get your hands on some of this gear, then check out F1reverse.com today. It's the perfect way to help support us in bringing you daily F1 news. Right, back to Newey, and why he turned down the chance to work with Lewis Hamilton. Aston Martin and Ferrari are two very different teams. Behind the scenes, Ferrari are a mess of convoluted management structures, pressures from the Ferrari brand, and influence from people involved with Ferrari, but with almost no knowledge of how to run an F1 team. They have a huge structure, far too much outside influence, and the behind-the-scenes politics is a massive burden. They may be Formula 1's most famous and most historic team, but how they operate is also historic. Aston Martin, on the other hand, is a much more modern operation, not just because of the brand new £200 million factory at Silverstone, which includes the most technologically advanced wind tunnel in the sport. They've been completely overhauled by Lawrence Stroll, and with some of the best technical staff in the sport on their roster, they are set up to succeed. Newey outlined how Lawrence Stroll's management of the team persuaded him to become the Silverstone-based team's managing technical partner, rather than move to Ferrari and the chance to work with Lewis Hamilton. Once after a couple of months, I decided I would like to stay in Formula 1. Ferrari was one of the considerations, Newey said. I've made no secret of the fact I wanted to work with Fernando and I wanted to work with Lewis. And since they were in different teams, I couldn't fulfill both. But I think for various reasons, particularly Lawrence's offer of shareholding and partnership and his commitment and the fact that he is the only one of that old model of team owners where you have an active owner like Frank Williams. That was the model 20 years ago. Lawrence is the only one of that model now. The model at Aston Martin now is very similar to the old Red Bull model which convinced Newey to join the team back in the day. Then Dietrich Mateschitz was running the team on his own, without the worries of board members all over the world. While the structure of Aston Martin may be old, it reduces the number of reporting lines which can burden an F1 team to the point they are immobilized by their own bureaucracy. That is the situation that has held Ferrari back for so many years. It is what has destroyed Alpine, and it is a situation that Newey won't have to deal with at Aston Martin. But what do you think? Did he make the right choice? And what do you think of Adrian's comments on the nationalistic biases of Sky Sports? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.